In a previous video, I interfaced DS1307 to Arduino and gave detailed description of the real-time clock, and then programmed the DS1307 in assembly. A link to that video is available in the video description. In this video, DS1307 is interfaced with ATtiny85 microcontroller and is programmed in C using only the TinyWire library to show time and date on TM1637 display. In this video we have the DS1307 real-time clock interfaced with the ATtiny85 microcontroller through the serial clock line and the serial data line of the I2C. And we have the TM1637 interfaced with the microcontroller, where the clock line is connected to pin PB3 and the data is connected to pin PB4. And we also have an LED which indicates either we have AM or PM is connected to digital pin PB1 of the microcontroller. The real-time clock is displaying time and the LED is on indicating PM. The DS1307 is programmed to display the date periodically every 30 seconds. The C sketch is made of two programs. One program to write time and date into the DS1307 and another program to read time and date. We'll begin with the write program. And note here we are only using one library, which is the TinyWire library. Inside the setup function, and after we program the USI of the ATtiny85 as I2C, we write into the control register. First we send the write address of the DS1307, and then we send the byte 07 so that we point to the control register. And then we send this byte so that we have at the output of the square pin a 4 kHz square wave, and then we end the I2C transmission. Next we write to set the current time. First we send the byte 00 so that we point to the seconds register of the DS1307, and then we write the seconds in binary coded decimal, and then the minutes, and then we write the hour in 12-hour mode, which is the AM/PM mode, and then we end the I2C transmission. Next we write to set the current date. So first we send the byte 04 so that we point to the data register of the DS1307, and then we write the day in binary coded decimal, the month, and then we write the year, and then we end the I2C transmission. Next we have the C program for reading time and date from the DS1307. Again, we are only using one library here, the TinyWire library. Within the setup function, this function will program the universal serial interface of the ATtiny85 as I2C, and then this function will initialize the TM1637 display. To read time from the DS1307, we need to send byte 0 to the device so that we point to the seconds register. So here we are sending the write address of the device, and then we send the byte 00 so that we point to seconds register, and then we end the I2C transmission. Next we read time by sending the read address to the device and request 3 bytes. So the first byte, which represents the seconds, is stored in the first element of the array, and then we read the second byte, which is the minutes, and then the third byte, which is the hours. Next we want to read the date from the DS1307, but first we need to point to the date register, so we send the write address of the device, and then we send the byte 04 to point to the date register of the DS1307, and then we end the I2C transmission. Next we want to read the date from the DS1307, so first we send the read address of the device and requesting 3 bytes. The first byte will be the day, will be stored in the 4th element of the array. The second byte would be the month, stored in the 5th element, and the third byte would be the year, will be stored in the last element of the array. The rest of the code, which is used to display time and date on the TM1637 display, will be left for the viewers to look at. Some part of the code was explained in previous videos. More ATtiny85 projects will be presented in future videos, such as programming DS1307 real-time clock.